Welcome to another video. In today's video, we are inside of the 2017 Camaro 2.0 Turbo 4-cylinder. So, gonna go ahead and just start off and give you guys my initial thoughts and impressions of the vehicle. On the outside, this is a really bright yellow. I believe that's actually the name of this color, is bright yellow, and it absolutely grabs your attention from the moment you notice it. You can't miss this car on the road. It's brighter than a school bus. I mean, it screams, look at me, look at me. And definitely, you know, it's not really my style, but I can definitely see how some people would like this bright of a color. Reminds some people like Bumblebee from the movie Transformers and whatnot, since he is a Camaro and whatnot, so that is pretty cool. Also on the outside of this vehicle, this being, I guess, the baser Camaro, even though there's not really a base thing about this vehicle, because once I tell you about the inside, you'll know what I'm talking about. But starting off with the, you know, outside of the appearance still, you know, I think the front end is very mean on this vehicle. You know, I really like how they have the black emblem up front, and you know, it's a nice design. It can be more aggressive. If you guys have ever seen the Z01s or the 1LEs and whatnot, you know, those have even more add-ons because they're a higher trim. But you know, this thing still looks pretty nice. It's kind of like the Mustang, you know, even the base, or even though this really isn't a base like I already said, but even the base Camaro still does have some nice styling touches here and there. And just looking more around the outside of the car, around the rear, if you go back there, you know, you have this nice exhaust tips back there that are decent looking. You know, the tail light shapes, and basically the whole back end comes together quite nice. There's no spoiler or anything, so you could add that aftermarket. I'm sure somebody would. You also, now back to the exhaust note, listening to this car, and most of this video I might be bringing up the EcoBoost and the V6 Mustang a little, because that's kind of what this car competes. It's kind of in a middle zone right there. But the exhaust wise, compared to the V6, it's kind of like the EcoBoost. The V6 sounds better, but comparing this 4-cylinder straight to Ford's 4-cylinder it's quite interesting. I personally think that the EcoBoost is probably a little bit louder, but some people do say that this one sounds better, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw in a clip and let you guys decide, you know, exactly how you think this vehicle sounds. But I will say that that sound right there is quite interesting. You know, of course, it's not a V8 or it's not a V6 or anything. And you can get a deeper sound probably with an aftermarket exhaust. I'm pretty sure this car probably has a ton of aftermarket support, just like the Camaro SSs and the 1LEs do and whatnot. And speaking of which, so moving on into the interior now, it's pretty nice in here. I can't not lie, and I am a Mustang guy myself. I personally own a V6 Mustang, 2016 year model, and you know, Chevy does have their stuff going on. Now, sitting around looking inside of the interior, you have a nice steering wheel right here in front of me, obviously. I like the nice little touches. The cloth in here is really nice material. This is just a part of Ford and Chevy just really stepping up their game as far as, you know, in the performance car world or muscle car world, whatever. It just really stepped up the quality of the interior. This one still has about 8,000 miles on it, and everything still looks brand new. And for this being a base car, you have a very nice screen in front of you, and you also have the Mylink system right here with the navigation. I know that's an option, and this is where you start talking about compared to the EcoBoost Mustang, because even though this is a 4-cylinder, Chevy's 4-cylinder, this is their base Camaro. So theirs goes turbo V6, and then you have the V8, rather than Ford's goes the V6, which is the base, and then they have the EcoBoost, which is the 4-cylinder, and then they have the V8, and of course the Shelby's on up. But so this is kind of backwards in that way. So this technically would compete with the V6. So on the V6 Mustang, you cannot have any options. So 2017 was the last year model that Ford offered the V6 Mustang, and you cannot get a touchscreen, or any of this is not going to be able to be found in a V6 Mustang, sadly. So you know, it is a nice feature. Definitely the price is higher because of that, so you're going to get the V6 Mustang cheaper. But this Camaro, you know, definitely I could see, you know, the quality of the material really justifying this price of this car, because the Camaros, at least for the 15 through 17 year model, are more pricey than the Mustang. So this definitely is understandable, because you do get a little bit more stuff here and there, and it's really a nice interior. I really do like it in here. So of course, now what we're gonna go ahead and do is go ahead and take it on the drive. I'll give you guys my initial impressions. This is the 8-speed automatic, and I did just get out of the 10-speed automatic that was in the Mustang GT, and that transmission is honestly probably the best transmission that you can get in a muscle car right now. It's probably the fastest, and you know, someone can probably debate me about that, but we're gonna go ahead and put it in manual mode here. I'm gonna use the paddle shifters, and this car has around 275 horsepower, so compared to the EcoBoost, or excuse me, the V6 Mustang, that's around 25 horsepower less. So you know, that is a decent you know, power loss right there, or power difference. But we're gonna go and see how this car does right here. Gonna go ahead and turn on this road and go ahead and give it some gas. So, alright, so my first initial impressions from just getting on the gas right there, I definitely will say, I feel like this car is a little underrated. 275 horsepower. I have not felt 275 horsepower feel that nice. That's a decent punch. You know, I will say, I'm gonna go ahead and downshift here again. Now, of course, like I said, this automatic transmission, compared to the 10-speed, is definitely not as fast and whatnot, but I'm gonna go ahead and see about this power again. So I will say that I feel like this might actually rev higher than the EcoBoost, and I feel like this power band might be a little bit more linear, or maybe it's the gear ratio in this vehicle. I'm not exactly sure, but 275 horsepower, and I believe the torque number is around 285 or 295. Someone can correct me about that, but the torque number is still in the 200s, high 200 range. So it is pretty interesting how this car, in a way, it still feels strong. Like I said, this one does compete directly with the V6 Mustang. So if I were to compare this to a stock V6 Mustang, I'd say they're about the same. They both get up and go about their way. Now this does feel a little bit stronger because, you know, it is a turbo, so I feel like it kind of hits you a little bit more directly. But this thing definitely gets up and goes, no problem. Like I said, the manual 8-speed transmission is pretty good. Just downshifted. It's a touch little slow, you know, for my taste, but definitely isn't a slouch whatsoever. And I will say, just doing that pull right there again, this not this V6, this 4-cylinder definitely does not fall on its face as hard as I feel like the EcoBoost does. Like I said, it might be the gear ratio, or maybe because the power band in this car just really is more linear, but I definitely will say that, you know, the power-wise, it feels good. And it just does want to keep going. That was 3rd gear right there, and I felt like the car could have kept going and going and going. I mean, this thing is definitely underrated. And just cruising here doing about 40 miles an hour, this car definitely is calm and relaxed. One thing a lot of people do talk about these Camaros is the visibility, and with the great appearance that you get with these things, with a small, you know, just the way this car is angled and whatnot, the windows are really small, and because of that, the visibility isn't the best. You have a huge blind spot, and I've actually been in this car for quite a while now, driving it to the filming location and whatnot, and I will say, I can see someone getting used to this at first. You know, when you first step in, you're just like, how on earth do you drive like this? But it's very easy to see how people do get used to this, and you know what, I can definitely see. I mean, I see out the rear view window. Now of course it's nowhere near as good as my Mustang or an SUV or anything like that, but I mean, you can see and it's just actually quite interesting, honestly, about how the visibility is actually usable. It's definitely something to get used to, and you know, it surprised me as far as like I said, the visibility goes. So now we're gonna go ahead and do some back road driving. Just gonna go see how the car handles a bit, see what it can actually do. And it does handle really, really flat. It just took that turn, you know, about 2 or 3 miles over the speed limit, and it handled it really flat. I mean, just honestly just took it no problem at all. Now this being the 4-cylinder, you know, Camaro, it is the lightest, so you have a lighter nose, and it honestly just feels really flat. And and just thinking about how that just felt, I can only imagine what you could do aftermarket wise as far as just improving the handling, because this thing definitely does eat up the turns. And like I said, with the power earlier, it definitely just wants to go, especially with the manual shifting here with the paddle shifters. You know, you can just really lay your foot down, and it knows what to do, and it just pulls. And I'm gonna go ahead and take this turn, not too fast though. Oh yeah, it definitely feels lighter than the Mustang. I'm pretty sure the Camaros actually are a decent amount of weight lighter than the Mustangs, but especially, like I said, with this one being the lightest Camaro, you can definitely feel that there is a giant weight difference here, and it feels like you can really toss this thing around in any bit of turn. So that is a very nice factor about this car, that it definitely, without a doubt, does handle nice on the road. So wrapping up my time with this 2017 Camaro 2-liter turbo, I definitely will say that it is a interesting car. It definitely did surprise me. You know, I definitely can see how people are buying these Camaros in general and how they like them. You know, there's a lot with them. At first that I didn't think I'd like I said, the visibility and whatnot, but they really do surprise you. The Mylink system is nice. Definitely with the V8s, you know, they're a lot faster, and don't get me wrong, because this thing right here isn't slow at all, but they definitely will surprise you. Like I said, the interior is nice. You have a really nice package here, all in all, with this car. So comment down below what you guys think of this 2017 Camaro. Yeah, you know, just give me your thoughts about this car. You know, would you buy something like this, or if you would prefer another car, go ahead and comment that down below. And if you like these videos, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in another video.